To help us make sense of all of this is Christopher Pyne, along with Anthony Albanese. Good morning, lads.
Morning.
First up this morning, have a look at this number. This is the worrying number. National government debt in Australia, it's more than $410 billion. It's going up on average by $10 million every hour. Christopher Pyne, what are we going to do about that figure right there?
Well, one thing that would help that would be the $30 billion of savings that are blocked in the Senate by the Labor Party and the crossbenchers. I mean, we are trying to repair the budget, we have for the last 2 years. Labor votes against every savings measure, supports every tax change, have their own spending ideas. I mean, Labor thinks you can keep spending, keep increasing taxes. The public are over that.
Does it worry you when you look at that number right there? Well, you can see it just there.
Well, I mean, Australia is a big economy. We want to reduce the national debt. We have reduced it already with the measures that we've imposed.
Well, it's not
we
enough,
have more savings in the Senate, but Labor doesn't want to have any difficult decisions. They just want to increase taxes.
At the moment, the spending is outstripping revenue by $100 million a day.
Well, and Labor will not pass in the Senate the measures necessary to get that under control. I mean, the Senate is a block on the economy, the crossbenchers and Labor. In fact, the Greens are more cooperative than the Labor Party and the crossbenchers.
The Greens also want to legalise ice.
Well, I don't agree with that policy.
OK. Anthony, obviously the debt was getting racked up well and truly when you were in government as well.
Well, debt's up and spending is up and unemployment is up. This is a government that doesn't have a plan for the economy. I mean, the whole of Australia was pleased when we got rid of Mr Angry and we got Mr Smiley. Now we know that what we've got is Mr Waffle.
Who have we got, Mr.
Nothing
Short?
is happening. There is no narrative for this government. They don't have a plan for the economy some 2.5 years into government.
OK, you know that 300,000 Australians will move to a higher tax bracket in the next 4 years, according to the latest figures. How will you, if you come into government, address bracket creep?
Well, what we did when we were in government, of course, is reduce taxes. Taxes as a proportion of the economy are higher now. It is the government that tried to introduce a 15%
So you're going to
GST.
reduce taxes, so you're going to have less revenue?
No, what we'll do is make sure that we have the appropriate revenue, but also the appropriate savings measures, but also target it
if you
in
reduce
the right
taxes,
way.
you have less revenue.
Well, what we've already put forward is $70 billion of savings. We've put forward a plan on tax. We have a plan on superannuation. This government isn't governing.
Carl, they include in their $70 billion tax increases. Now, a tax increase is not a saving, it's a tax increase. They have $100 billion of new taxes, apparently $100 billion of new spending. It's like nothing ever happened in the world around trying to reduce taxes and make government smaller. Labor wants to increase taxes increase spending.
Under you,
now, we want to reduce spending
is higher
and Labor won't pass that in the Senate.
Are you actually going to do anything?
Well, in the budget in May, you will see that we will try and address the issues around things like bracket creep. Certainly we want to do that. We want to do that through reducing spending. But if Labor and their friends in the Senate and the crossbenchers keep blocking those savings, it makes it very difficult to govern.
Why don't you just double disillusion then? Get on with it.
Well, that's an option. That is a live option. Of course it is. Because there's not only issues around savings measures, there's also the Australian Building and Construction Commission. Labor doesn't want to clean up construction and building in Australia. They want the CFMEU to continue to be a lawless organisation on building and construction sites. That's bad for productivity.
The perception is that Malcolm Turnbull's too worried about being popular than making tough decisions.
But we're not going to get pushed into making announcements around taxation.
You've had 2 years, you're not doing anything.
Just because the media and the commentators say we have to.
No, but you haven't done
when
anything.
I'm out in my electorate, people aren't demanding to know what tax reforms we're going to be putting forward in the budget.
Well, but they're demanding to know. They're wanting you to get your bank account in order.
Yeah, they're quite happy for us to govern sensibly, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to do the negative gearing thing that Labor wants to do, pushing up rents, pushing down property prices.
But you won't tell the Australian people what you'll do.
Labor's negative gearing policy will push up rents and push down property prices.
OK,
this is a government that have a series of talking points, but they have no sense of purpose. What is the reason why Malcolm Turnbull took over from Tony Abbott, apart from getting the keys to the lodge?
OK, Malcolm...
It's beyond me,
I don't think
Malcolm, beyond the Australian people.
Malcolm Turnbull and the government have had a great month.
They've had a shocker,
but they're still a mile in front of you, and Bill Shorten doesn't even register on the popularity stakes.
64-19.
Well, we'll wait and see what happens at the election, Carl. But what we know...
Well, you might be the leader, by
then. What we know is, in terms of this government, that Australians are disappointed. They had this sense of relief when Malcolm Turnbull took over, and now we have a government at war with itself. We've had another ministry sworn in just this week, another 5 new ministers, the revolving door, like everyone's getting a turn on the front bench, and no sense of purpose. I mean, Scott Morrison's the first minister, let alone treasurer, to ever go to the National Press Club and say absolutely diddly squat.
That is true.
It's not true. Carl, that is not... Just because he said it doesn't make it true.
I watched it.
Just because he said it doesn't make it true.
He made more sense talking about unicorns.
This from the government that had 78 ministers in 6 years.
Well, what did he say?
He talked about our sensible measures
policy?
back to a surplus
He didn't
over
say
the
any.
course
He
of the
didn't
next few
actually
years.
say any sensible measure. He just said sensible measures.
We are not... The government, the public does not want us to rush around announcing all sorts of reforms.
The term's almost
sensible... They want sensible government, and that's what we're providing. They don't want negative gearing changes that make rents more expensive and that property prices dropping. Where's Labor getting all this money from?
Just before we go, you're a great friend of the program. We love having you and Anthony on. Just between us, when's the election?
Well, it's due in about September this year.
It won't be September. It has to be earlier.
I'm a great fan of the show.
Can we just get on with it?
I'm particularly liking this new set we've got from Graham Kennedy's Blankety Blanks.
They can't even make a decision on that.
It's nice to bring it back out again.
Are you serious?
Give it a polish up.
Why don't you have a look at the national debt?
Pop it on the telly.
Look at the national debt.
Graham would be pleased to see it being used again.
They have no plan.
Righto.
Just talking points.
Oh, there you're talking
I quite
points
like
about
that
the
Blankety
plan.
Blanks. Thank you,
I
you
love
too.
Blankety Blanks.
Yeah,
It's a
me
great
too.
show.
There's a bit of that going on.
You would have gone well on that.
I love Blankety Blanks. Pull it, Pete. A wonderful show.
He would have gone very well on Blankety.
I would have been good at Blankety Blanks.
You would have been a
No doubt about
star
it.
up there.
All he had to do was pick what the
Righto.
audience was saying was the most likely thing. It's the easiest show in the
It's
world.
the same as government.
Misspent youth.
Righto, you two.
Maybe they should give up on government and just have a
You would have
series
been
of
Ugly
on
Dave
Blankety
Gray.
Blanks.
You could have been
Over to you,
Ugly
Lisa.
Dave Gray. He was quite popular, Ugly Dave Gray.
Over to you.